I'm Kyle.
It's a little bit more like it. Have him probed and sent to my chambers. It's not the leotard business. Femmes don't really do it for me. But you've got this stone look about you. Your eyes are sort of half open, like they're smirking cheekily all the time. And when you do open them wide, they sort of go up in the middle so you can see the tops of your irises. It's just delectable, Kyle. Not many people can pull it off, but merciful heavens you do. You are, without a doubt, my favourite.
This is your fave is problematic.
Oh, well, that sucks. It was sort of inevitable, wasn't it? You're not going to be many people's favourite anything, are you? You named your channel Your Fave is Problematic. You might as well call yourself Don't Love Me, I'm Damaged. Well, I refuse, Kyle. I insist on loving you. No matter how damaged you get.
Where I really question why some things would be your fave.
There's the eye thing, see what I mean? They're not just come to bed eyes, they're come in my eyes.
Today we'll be looking at the terrifying new trend known as the men's rights movement.
See the eyebrow thing? They cannot resist the eyebrow thing. It's pretty much universally cool. Karen can do both. Just like that. Incidentally, if it was a toss-up between you and Karen, I'd probably fuck you and make Karen watch. Because let's face it, that would make a much better story. She's a prominent men's rights advocate, and so am I. We called that because we advocate for men's rights, such as due process, family court reform, and anti-baby mutilation. Meninism. Oh, well, I can only speak for myself, but I'm not a meninist. I don't do meninize. Do you? Excuse me for 5 minutes, Kyle?
The facts are these.
Then what do you suppose these are? The cherries you're going to pick?
Meninism, or the men's rights movement.
Kyle, my darling, the men's rights movement has been going on for the best part of a century, just like the women's rights movement. It's a shame we didn't get there in time to save Alan Turing from being governmentally castrated for not loving women, but since then we've done quite well on that particular front. Whereas meninism is a word coined last year at the earliest, probably by feminists, who insist that men's rights is a stupid idea because it's just like feminism. It's rather like referring to the civil rights movement as blackism, because that's what the arch-Klansman told you to call it. I mean, if we're in a world in which every university is institutionally whitest, you just dropped out of the metaphor, didn't you? It all got a bit too real.
As it is known by human man-babies all over the internet.
Human man-babies? I mean, it's courteous of you to at least consider us human by default, rather than giving us permission to be human. So that's why Emma Watson doesn't even get to watch while I pound you.
Is a pseudo-activist movement.
What's a pseudo-activist? Is that like proclaiming a political position in principle but not pursuing it or promoting it publicly? I'm pretty sure the word for that is advocate.
Promoting what it claims to be equal rights for men, though in reality is a thinly veiled counter-movement.
Ah, so it's a pseudo-activist movement, but it's a counter-movement. The problem you have there, Kyle, is in the butt. Your butt has created a false dichotomy. Allow me to go in after it. What I think you're trying to say is that any counter-movement against the thing you're about to mention cannot possibly involve genuine activism because the thing you're about to mention must not and cannot be questioned. Can anyone guess what that thing might be?
Against feminism.
Kyle, let me nip this in the aforementioned butt right now. You definitely do not need feminism. You don't even need women, do you?
In 2014, the hashtag #YesAllWomen rose to popularity.
Yes. 2014 was the year feminism decided once and for all that every woman should live in perpetual fear. It's empowering, you see.
An online movement dedicated to exemplifying the inequality still faced by women today.
One of those women is saying, because women don't get to raise children unless the father allows it. Another is saying, because women can't vote without agreeing to die in a war. Another is saying, because women can legally have their genitals mutilated at birth. Another is saying, because women can be raped by men and the law will not call it rape. Oh wait, my mistake, those are all disparities in human rights faced by men and men only. What's going on here, Kyle, is there are 3 women saying, I feel scared and so should you, and one woman is saying, and I quote, why does the suggestion that half the human race be treated with respect by the other half arouse such fury in the latter half? And that, Kyle, you must admit, is a ruddy good question. We in the men's rights movement ask for intact genitals, reproductive rights, due process and the occasional bit of access to our children, and we get the response, shut those whiny crybabies up, they're dangerous terrorists.
The hashtag itself was in response to the trending #NotAllMen.
Well, the full story is the hashtag somewhat exploded after Elliot Rodger killed 6 people and himself, and every other feminist, all the way up to the mass media, crawled out of the woodwork and blamed everything, not just on masculinity itself, but on the men's rights movement, despite Elliot Rodger being an anti-PUA who was subscribed to the Young Turks and never once associated with or even mentioned the men's rights movement. It was a global act of hysterical misanthropic terrorism, Kyle, the likes of which would make Stalin's mustache curl up and eat itself.
In which angry monster babies posted stories decrying their unfair treatment by women.
Yeah, that's about it. Please don't mutilate my baby's genitals. Ha ha ha, you're a murderer. That's what you're doing.
Once again showing that all too often, when a woman decides to stand up for herself, a man will come along and just basically shit on it.
I would still pound you, Kyle, but it's gonna have to be in a field. With the whole Honey Badger crew watching. In a circle.
Around the time, trending topics such as I need Meninism because and Meninist tweet began popping up with such great hits as...
Quick reminder, Kyle, men's rights activists are trying to restore medical autonomy to newborn babies, reproductive autonomy to boys, parental autonomy to men, and the standard of innocent until proven guilty to students accused of rape. Now, what are you going to represent the men's rights movement as?
Why can't she open the door for me? Why do men have to spend our hard-earned money on dates? Why can't we get asked out, picked up, and fed? I like free food too.
Hey Kyle, what did the pimp say to the Undertaker?
Why don't guys under 6 feet get a chance?
You're lucky I've got a sense of humour, Kyle, because you're being a humongous humanitarian failure right now.
This particularly cryptic one by a woman that reads, I need Meninism because feminism has wimpified modern men beyond recognition.
I don't know what you're being at this point. I don't know what manner of tornado cluster is dragging the self-awareness slowly out of your confused oscillating sphincter. But you're doing the eye thing again. And good lord, that's still a face I can imagine under me. But forward, if you please. I just like knowing it's there.
I want real men back!
And you'll get real men back, Kyle, just as soon as Real Man Front is finished with you.
I need Meninism because the movie Magic Mike promotes an unrealistic expectation of how men's bodies should look.
This man is mocking you, Kyle. He is satirizing feminists and the kind of toffee-ass excuses for inequality they come up with. This man is a hero. I would wank him off with my mother watching while I'm still pounding you. And if he tries to give you a reach-through, I would slap his hand away and say, no, this one's been bad. My mother would love this, by the way. Don't worry. She's probably laughing her ass off right now.
Something women would know nothing about.
I'm glad I edit myself into jokes like that. I just covered up a huge fucking head disc moment by you, dude. Fucking huge.
When I read these, I am most strongly reminded of a tweet by the user known as Birds Right Activist, who has somewhat effortlessly yet succinctly summed up this sticky situation.
Now, you probably think the thing you're about to say is a biting piece of topical satire, don't you? But the artistically beautiful thing about what's about to happen is it could be about any given person or any given group of people in any given situation. It is a passage and an accompanying routine that contains a substance quotient of exactly 0. You could play the next clip on a loop in an art gallery and people will understand. They'll say, ah, yes, he's like a human tabula rasa. He's dismissing something but giving no indication what it is or any reason for the dismissal. So either he's being utterly vacant for no reason other than postmodernism, or he's actually attempting to dismiss something on the grounds that it's indistinguishable from everything else in the universe. If only they knew, Kyle, that you were saying this about your own human fucking rights.
I feel uncomfortable when we are not about me? Yeah. By the way, that is my new favorite catchphrase. I'm gonna use that in like every situation. There's just so many applicable situations in which you could use that. Can't think of any right now, of course, but it's out there.
See what I mean? There's a certain zen to your stupidity. That's why I like you.
The topic has received so much media attention that it has even been touched upon in a recent episode of Parks and Rec.
This is where you're getting your information, isn't it, Kyle? TV sitcoms.
As ever, our feminist heroine, Leslie Knope, summed it up perfectly.
Second, the mailman? Where are you? Ah, you're ridiculous, and men's rights is nothing.
Right here, Paula.
Now here's where it gets pretty funny. The hashtag Meninist logo appearing on the t-shirts of some gravely misguided individuals.
You'll notice there aren't any shirts that say men's rights advocate. And there aren't any shirts that say women's rights advocate. It's because these are things that are far too important to be put on a shirt. The kinds of things you put on shirts are meninism and feminism. Are we up to speed, Kyle? The female equivalent of meninism should also have remained nothing more than a joke on a t-shirt. But it is in charge of every fucking university.
Is of course borrowed from the design of the Obey logo by artist Shepard Fairey. How is that funny? I'm glad you asked. Well, Fairey himself borrowed the original design from feminist artist Barbara Kruger. Well, what do you know?
I know what a font is.
Ooh, the tea is sweet.
Hope it tastes as sweet coming out. I'm into everything, Kyle. I'm gonna baby bird it back into you as soon as I'm done with it.
Score 1 for Cosmic Karma. Swish.
It's the only kind of karma, Kyle. It's the only kind of karma.
In all seriousness, what is truthfully harmful about the men's rights movement is that it inappropriately shifts the focus away from some very real issues still faced by women today.
In all serious, Kyle. Really? Because you just put up a bunch of bitching, narcissistic erotomaniacs and claim they're more important than the state-sanctioned human rights violation faced by men and boys. Which you fobbed off with some bullshit about holding doors open and paying for dinner. Fuck you into a cocked hat, you little shit. I wouldn't piss up your ass if your belly was on fire.
I need feminism because I live in a world where women are still being shunned for voicing their opinion.
You just took men's only voice on gender and dismissed it on grounds that it's whiny and pointless and self-centered just like feminism, and now you're saying you need feminism. Your world is completely upside fucking down, you nasty, bewildered, embryonic gnome of a man.
And men still hold a monopoly on the conversation. Or at least are attempting to. Badly. Via social media.
In what way did you think this would get you laid? What were you fucking thinking?
They've also ruined My Little Pony.
Let me guess. You liked My Little Pony before men liked it.
Feminism is defined by its stance for equality across all genders. Don't you see? There's room for all of us in feminism.
Yeah, I lied. I don't like the eye thing at all. You look like Bono. You have the mental capacity of Bono. And you're barely half as many Courchaines.
All of us! All of us. All of us. Damn, don't do that. Don't do that.
Take the self-awareness you just experienced, Kyle, and apply it to the shameless man-hating you just displayed in public. And then try out this dating agency video from the top again, okay?
Men. Who needs them? I'm just kidding. I need them.
That's better. You want a hug? You don't get a hug. Sort your fucking brain out, faggot.